So I have modified this question slightly so that it meets certain international standards for ethics. So the student who asked this question, you will notice there's a bit of a difference, but if you look at it more carefully, you will notice also that it effectively answers the question that you asked, probably even better than it did previously. So let's take a look at this. There are 900 researchers at all hospital universities in Western Africa. 290 of them study hypertension, also known as high blood pressure. We will represent that with the letter P, capital letter P. Okay, 250 study oncology, which is related to tumor. Okay, so you have put C there to represent something like cancer or whatever you like. 380 study diabetes. We will use letter D to represent that. 55 of these researchers study both high blood pressure, hypertension, and diabetes. 45 study both oncology and diabetes, while 50 study both hypertension or high blood pressure and oncology. So note the letters P, C, and D, which will be used for hypertension or high blood pressure. So P for pressure, C for cancer, and D for diabetes. Note those. So here are the questions. How many specialists study all three areas? Okay. So some of the specialists will study all the three. Okay. The next one there is how many specialists study none of the three areas, and how many study oncology or diabetes but not hypertension or high blood pressure. Part D there says how many of these researchers study oncology or diabetes or both oncology and diabetes but not high blood pressure. So notice there is a difference between question part C and part D. So I added question D there so that you can see to help students realize that there is a different ways of asking questions, and the way you ask the question will determine how the answer comes about, right? What the answer is going to be. So the question must be non-ambiguous in order for the answer to be, for students to give you the right answer that you want. So let's look at how to answer this question. The first thing I want to do is just to list all the pieces of information that has been given to us. Okay, so here we go. The symbols, high blood pressure will be represented by letter P. Oncology will be represented by letter C, and diabetes will be represented by letter D. So try to memorize, remember that, so that as we move on, you can understand quickly. All right, so what information have we been given? We are told that the number of researchers, the total number of researchers is 900. The number of researchers that are studying high blood pressure are 290. The number of researchers studying oncology or tumors, cancer, is 250. The number of researchers studying diabetes is 380. Okay, we are also told that the number of researchers that study both high blood pressure and, so the intersection here, the intersection sign there means and. So the number of researchers studying both high blood pressure and diabetes, there are 55 of them. Okay, there is more. We are also told that the number of researchers studying oncology as well as diabetes is 450. Okay, the number of researchers studying high blood pressure and oncology is 50. The number of researchers studying oncology but not high blood pressure but not. So the symbol here is complement, means not these two, not high blood pressure or diabetes. Okay, so that means the number of researchers that study only oncology, or the study of tumors, right? There are 185 of those. We'll see how to represent this on a Venn diagram, okay? Now, then we start. So we start by placing the universal set, and that is immediately, so we will put in the value. So the value for the universal set, everything that falls inside that rectangular box there, is 900 researchers, okay? And then we can put in the 3 areas, okay? Those who study high blood pressure will be here. Those that study oncology, okay, is this circle here, and the lowest circle there represents those that study diabetes. And we want to remind ourselves of what these are. So I'm going to start by representing the P there. So the number of researchers studying P is 290, just to remind you. The number of researchers studying oncology is 250. This is coming from the previous page. The number that studied diabetes, I think, was 380, if I remember correctly. Yes. Also, so now we go to the next piece of information given to us. All right, so we are told that those who study both cancer and diabetes, so I'm going to put, okay, the first one there is going to be those who study high blood pressure together with cancer or oncology. That's this region here. So this is an intersection of P and C, and we are told that intersection, these are researchers that study both high blood pressure and oncology. So we are told that that value there is 50. So there are 50 in here. Also, those who study high blood pressure and diabetes, so they study both high blood pressure and diabetes. It's this intersection here. So it's P intersection D, and P intersection D is 55. So this here is 50 all the way here, and this much, if we add all those are here, they're going to be 55. And lastly, those who study both oncology or cancer and diabetes, we were also given that, I think it is 45, correct? Okay, so keep these pieces of information in mind, but actually what we're going to do is we will add them into the Venn diagram as we move on, so that you can't forget them. All right, now one more thing that we have been given, and this is those who study only oncology. So those who are here study oncology and high blood pressure. Those who are here study all 3 illnesses, okay? And those who are here study both diabetes and oncology. So, but there are 185, we are told, that study only oncology, 185. So, okay, so they are that. This is how we represent this region. So this piece of information given here can be represented on a Venn diagram like that. Okay, so that's 185. I might as well put it there directly. Okay, now what we want to do is to remove everything there, and we start from the inside. We do not know exactly how much this is. So what we're going to do is we're going to let that value, that's all those that study, the researchers that study all 3 areas, that's this region in the center, let us represent that with the letter X. So if that is represented with letter X there like that, but we know that those who study cancer and diabetes, that's this intersection here, we know that this value here is C intersection D. We go for C intersection D, that is 45. So we know that the whole of this is 45, and if this region is X, then the remaining region here has to be 45 minus X. I hope you understand that. So we can put 45 minus X here. We need this region here. We can put 45 minus X, because the total here is 45, and if this bit is already X, then whatever is remaining here must be 45 minus X. So I'm going to put 45 minus X right there. Okay, next we go to the next region, and that is P intersection D. So we know P intersection D is 55, but this bit is already X. That means whatever is left must be 55 minus x. So I can put 55 minus x right here. Okay? Lastly, this region here, P intersection C, has been given to us as 50. And so if this is already x, then the remaining region here has to be 50 minus x. So I can write 50 minus x right here where you see my arrow there. Okay? Now, we can now, because we've made use of this piece of information here, we can get rid of this. But then what we want to do is go to this region C, because the region C is completely filled up. We can't use this because we don't know that value, and we can't use region D because we don't know that value. But region C is completely filled up. Now we are told that the number of researchers that study oncology, the number of researchers studying oncology here is 250. It means that if we add all the elements, all the regions, if we add all members of those regions, we must get 250. And I want us to reason with that. Okay? So I'm going to remove that, and instead I'm going to say region C. Looking only at region C, we can see that 50 minus x plus x, that's already 50. So all this is 50, because 50 minus x plus x minus x and plus x will cancel out, and I'm left only with 50. So then 50 plus 45, that's going to be 95. 95 minus x. Okay? So all this region starting here, coming to that and that, is 95 minus x. So 95 minus x plus 185 must be equal to 250. Okay? So 95 minus x plus 185, everything must add up to 250. And if you rearrange this carefully and make x the subject of that relationship, you should see that x is in fact 30. So now I know what the center is in here. So x is 30. Knowing the value of x, I'm going to replace that x there. Now I can remove it and put 30 in its place, because I know how many researchers study all the three areas. There are 30 of them. Okay? And because the x is now 30, well, this region is 45 minus x, which is to say 45 minus 30, and that means this region must be 15. Okay? So I can remove this 45 minus x and put 15 instead. Similarly, I can go to the 55 minus x. My x is 30, so 55 minus 30 is 25. So I can remove that and put 25. Then I can go up there, and I have 50 minus x. My x is 30, so 50 minus 30 gives me 20. That tells me that that region there is 20. Okay? That's very good. Because we've done that, because we have these values, it is now possible to find those who study only high blood pressure and those who study only diabetes. Okay, so let's do that. Okay, with that information given to us, this region here, okay, let me remove that for a moment. So we are saying the sum of all the elements in this region D, the circle D, should be 380. But if we add 25 and 30 and 15, so first of all, 25 plus 15 is 40, 40 plus 30 is 70, so 380 minus 70 gives me 310. So this region is 310, which is to say the number of researchers that study only diabetes must be 310. Similarly, if I add this, that is 20 plus 50 plus 25, that is 75. If I take that away from the total number that study high blood pressure, which is 290, so we are saying 75 from 290. So 20 plus 30 plus 25 is 50 plus 25, which is 75. 75 from 290 is 215. Okay, so now I know all those researchers that study high blood pressure, diabetes, and oncology, do they all add up to the 900? Because there are a total of 900 researchers. So do they add up to 900? Now, if you add this carefully, you should see that they add up to 800, which means there are certain researchers that do not study these three areas. They study something else. So they cannot be anywhere inside these three circles. So we will have to put them out there. So if you add all this, you will get 800. Please take some time and add that up and confirm that it is 800. And so we can say that so the total that if we add all this, the unions of all the three is 800, but the total in the universal set is 900. That means there are 100 that are not inside these three. And so I need to put 100 outside there. Therefore, the total number of researchers that don't study, the complement means do not fall in this, must be 100. And so I can represent that region in there with 100, like that. Now we can go and start answering the question because we've filled every section that is required. Okay, let's see. So what are the questions being asked? The first question is, how many specialists study all three areas of research? Okay, and clearly all three areas refers to this. So our answer there is directly 30. There are 30 researchers that study all three areas. Okay, I'm also including the set notation to represent this. All right, the next question was, how many of these researchers study none of the three areas of research? And clearly there are 100 of them that are not in any of these three. And so the answer to this question here, that region that I'm shading in blue now, the answer to that is 100. So we can say there are 100 researchers that don't study any of these three areas. Okay, part C of the question asks, how many of the researchers study one of oncology or diabetes but not high blood pressure? Okay, so they study one of either oncology or diabetes. That means we go to oncology and diabetes and we look for those who study only one area. So there is 185 here, just study one, and there are 310 here that study only one area. Okay, so therefore the answer to this question has to be 185 and 310. So we add them. Okay, all right, so the region that I've shaded there is what this sentence is referring to. So they are studying only one area, okay, and it is either that or also means that we add. I hope you remember this, okay, and so 185 plus 310 is going to be 495. So 495 researchers study only one area of research from either oncology or diabetes. And lastly, the question is that how many study oncology or diabetes or both oncology and diabetes but not high blood pressure? So this study oncology or these study diabetes or these 15 study both diabetes and oncology. Okay, but we cannot add this because these ones are studying high blood pressure. And so the region we are interested in is these three here. Okay, so we can add those three and our answer turns out to be 510. Please confirm, check carefully and confirm that this sum brings us to 510. Does it bring us to 510? So 15 plus that is 200 and 200 plus 310 is 510. this is how you answer this question. I hope you've understood. If you need me to add anything or you need me to go a little bit slower, let me know and I will do just that. Okay? Send in your questions and we'll try to solve them for you. Where you have an opportunity, please also try to answer questions that are being posed by other students in the group. All right? Thank you very much.